It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? What's up, what's up, what's up? What's going on, guys? Will here, Flawless Exotic Creations, coming to you guys with another video. And in this video, we're going to talk about, it's kind of a controversial topic, but we're going to approach it, you know, eyes wide open with our own little twists to things, but being very open-minded about it. So, disclaimer, like I said, this is only our opinion. Guys, we're new at this thing. We want to be part of this community, and we want to be a staple in this community, and be known for one of the breeders that bring people together. We don't want to be driving the division between, even with Jeans and Morris. We laugh and joke, but literally, guys, everything out there, there's so many different genes, 300 something genes out there. The market is still untapped. Jump onto something that you have a passion about and kind of ride that wave all the way to the top. Really, you know, I guess etch your name in stone when it comes to whatever you're working with. So the reason I put that out there is because sometimes you hear things and you may not agree with 100% of what you hear from a person, us included. You may agree with 50% of something what someone says, or 75%. No two people are alike, or let me say, no two people are the same. You may have likeness in different ways, but no two people are the same. So we try to put out these videos to hopefully inspire and motivate people not to just do what we do, but maybe chase a passion or chase your own dreams. Some people are on the fence, even with the market being where the market may be, we still love it. I mean, I don't want it to ever sound like bragging, but honestly, even with the market the way it is now, I mean, we've done literally close to $3 grand in sales in the last 2 weeks on ball pythons. And does that mean that you're getting the same prices that you were getting for snakes 2 and 3 years ago? Absolutely not. But you have to always, I believe, in this industry, look at it as the grass is greener on the other side. And just move on from there. But hopefully this video is finding everybody doing very well. If you are not, hopefully listening to positive content like this one can spin around your day and spin around your week. It's only Tuesday, guys. It's a long week ahead of us. So main topic of today, let's talk about new genes, new Morse. I'm gonna do my best to squeeze it all into one video. So the main gist of this video is being a new breeder, number one, and dealing with new genes. Not sure I'm gonna squeeze it all in, but I'm gonna try. So when you're dealing with new genes, there's two different, mainly for what I want to address, there's two different new genes I want to kind of identify. A new gene that's widely accepted already. We can use Stranger since we're heavy in Stranger. Stranger is not a new gene, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, from the moment that there's two different stages, the moment that Stranger is kind of pops out of the egg, you're like, hey, something funky going on with this. Let me see what's going to happen of it, what's going to become of it. And then to the point of you've hatched out 30, 40, 50, you worked on it for 4 or 5 years, and now you know it's a gene. It does this with Mojave, it does this in clown, it does this in pie. You know for a fact it's a gene, it's widely accepted by the entire community, and boom, you're off. So those are two different stages. Finding a new gene and working a new gene, and the gene is new, has finally blown up, and now it's in high demand. The reason that these two stages are very important, and even more so important to a new breeder, is because I think there's a misconception, a misunderstanding, especially as a new keeper, a new breeder, because we are new and we are going through this ourselves. That's why we put this disclaimer out there, for hopefully this video be widely accepted amongst everyone, even people with difference of opinions. So as a new breeder, I'll go out there on the stance to say, hey, we're loving our infrastructure the way we built it so far, but if we were even smaller, it'd be nearly impossible for us to work a new gene. a new gene in the stage 1 of a new gene, meaning the gene is not widely available. It's something that popped up in our collection, or we imported it in and we see it, something funky about it, and we're going to follow it down that rabbit hole. Reason that it's difficult is number one, finances. All right, you're probably going to get it very, very cheap, $25 or whatever, or it pops up into your collection. So essentially it's whatever it came with. And then once you start working that gene, let's call this gene the flawless gene. Disclaimer, there is no flawless gene, okay? Please, we're not making our new gene. We do have some funky stuff that we're working in behind the scenes. We'll talk about it at a later date, but we'll just, for the purposes of this video, we'll call it the flawless gene. So if a flawless gene pops up, you know, in our yellow belly complex or whatever, it pops up, an import, and we say, oh, this is funky, cool, I'm gonna hold on to it, work it. You now grow it out for another year. If it's a male, you're lucky. If not, it's a female, it's gonna take forever. But you grow it out for a year, you get it breeding, and you breed it to 2 females, 3 females. Let's just say everything's going in your favor. Anyway, long story short, the 3 clutches you produce, let's say half of them end up resembling or reproducing this gene. Okay, so for yourself within your own collection, you've kind of proved it out to be genetic, but there's other steps to go about, because it's like, hey, is this another one of the 300 plus genes that's out there in the market already? And then you got to differentiate and figure out whether it is or it isn't. So it's a long process. I mean, years and years and years of doing this. And the reason why I don't believe is for true new breeders like ourselves is because if that's in fact happened, not only did I now grow this male out, bred the male to 3 females, I'm a year in, year and a half in, now I got 3 clutches. Let's say you have 10 babies or whatever that resemble or replicated this gene. You have to hold everything back that you're producing that's replicating this gene, if not entire clutches, to see what the others may produce. So infrastructure is number one. You need to make sure that if you're going to work a gene, are you prepared to, you know, and I may exaggerate on, but I always like to err on the side of caution. So in 5 years time, 6 years time, is your infrastructure in your collection, in your housing, in your feeding, able to take on holding back 60 plus animals? Is your infrastructure in place to hold back, take care of 60 plus animals without selling any of them? Because you're trying to figure out what it looks like with blackhead, what it looks like with clown, what it looks like, what's the markers, what's it looking like in this combo. You're trying to get it into a lot of interesting things so you can know what the gene actually does. Check out some of my Gene Chaser series where we kind of talk about ID and how things switch up and change when you match them up to different combos. So you're going through that entire process. Okay, yes, you're a new breeder. You're taking this on kind of as a hobby. It's fun. You're having a blast, but make sure you identify some of these trouble areas. Having money to be able to feed your collection now with 60 plus animals that you cannot sell because you're going to work that project, and figure out the whole future of that project. Are you prepared to work this project for the next 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years just to find out that your gene is another strain of yellow belly? You know, and then you're sitting there with 80 animals and you're like, hey, you did prove it out. It's really cool, but it's just a really, really cool yellow belly. Is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it, but was it worth it for that specific breeder? Yes and no, maybe. So you have to figure those things out. Then now stage 2 version of a new gene, meaning it's past that stage. It's been in the game 6, 7, 8 years, it's solid. It's been differentiated from 90% of the other 300 genes. Think about Stranger every time I'm talking about this, where they thought it was mahogany. They finally figured it out that it's not, and that's great. It was a blessing because it helped solidify Stranger even more so. Years and years past the time that it was first discovered. But now, like I said, once you take that $25 gene from stage 1, or essentially free or import gene, something that did not cost you a ton of money, and now you move that gene from that stage to stage 2. That's the excitement phase, I believe, as a new breeder, even for an existing breeder, going from this gene that was 25 bucks. We went through that with Voodoo, with Bob Voodoo gene, you know. Then he's expressed it on camera. It's, you know, open information that he didn't spend a lot of money on that gene. I think it was like 50 bucks. And then he basically proved it out to be genetic, and now he's off and running with that gene. So I say that because everybody's looking for that pot full of gold at the end of the rainbow. And I get it. It's an extreme excitement. There's so many genes out there. But you go from essentially a free gene or free-ish gene, a low value and cost gene, to now is ironed out to be genetic. It's a gene that does X, Y, and Z. It's tremendous. It's an awesome gene. And now you're literally like tenfold for that gene. And now the demand is high, whether it's a monsoon, whether it's tornado, whether it's cosmos, whether it's stranger. But now there's a higher demand for it. There's a low supply, and boom, regular business, you know, rules is in effect. Supply and demand. You know, people are paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to buy that gene. You slowly release it out into the market, and you're winning. Okay, but regardless, as a new breeder, you have to always look at your infrastructure first. Can you withstand that? Do you have the forethought and the vision to say, hey, I'm gonna see this thing through? I don't breed my own rodents, so I know I'm gonna incur this food bill for the next 6, 7, 8 years. I know I can't sell these animals. Everything I've already said to you guys. Are you still gonna have that same excitement about losing money every single week because you can't sell these animals, because you're chasing down this dream of basically this new gene popping for you? I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer though, because I mean, that's a huge dream. I think everybody aspires to, you know, to find that gene. Just want you guys to know what it all entails. I don't want someone to sit, my opinion, you know, even with ARS or Freedom Breeder Rack, 40 tubs, and think that you're going to have this gene pop up, work this gene, and also be a very relevant breeder, breeding some high-end stuff, producing some incredible snakes that you are selling and keeping and moving along. You don't have enough infrastructure there. It's going to take you that entire rack just to work this project that you think is a new gene. It's going to take more than that rack. So I say all that as a disclaimer. Hopefully everyone can get along in the comment section, because again, this is supposed to be for positivity. I would like to try to help breeders like ourselves hopefully get out in front of this, where, you know, they do have decent infrastructure, but they didn't think forward enough to say, hey, yeah, I want a new gene, and you have 60 slots in your collection, but 40 of your slots are medium level to high level animals working DG clown, you know, double recessive, triples recessives, which take even more rack space. And then you have this gene over here where you say, hey, I'm gonna work this gene, I'm gonna prove this out, this is my gene. Well, do you have another 60, 70 tubs that you're gonna dedicate to that gene and nothing else but hold that stuff back? So making sure you have the infrastructure in place. So hopefully we get in this video on a good note. I do believe we're in a couple of genes ourselves. We have what I've described as a stage 1 gene, something that's popped up in our collection, something that we're working. So yes, we have a stage 1 gene. We have, I want to say, maybe 2 stage 2 genes that's already been established, already out there. For example, everyone or people should already know of them, but Window has been out forever. We did not discover that, not proclaiming to say that we discovered it, but we're pretty deep in Window. As well as Tragic. We're in the Tragic as well. Tragic is out there, but I want to say we're at the forefront of it behind Hardwire. They did the import. They have all the details on the gene. Loving the gene is really dark based gene, granite type gene as well. Once we produce more, we'll do a Gene Chaser series on it. But those are 2 stage 2 genes that we are working. The stage 1 gene, we're not really ready to put it out there yet. We want to I guess put it through its all trial, put it through all the trials, and make sure that it's not another gene out there before we decide that we even want to run with it and see what's going to happen with it. But that being said, right now at our stage, I feel like we have the infrastructure to say, all right, screw it, we're going to hold back 100 animals over the next 4 or 5 years and not be able to sell them. We have the infrastructure right now to be able to do that. So it's a case-by-case scenario for every breeder, whether new or experienced, to know whether your infrastructure can even take on a new gene or not. Comment down below. Hopefully you guys agree with some of what I said. Again, it's not in stone. This is a new breeder's perspective. We have really good business knowledge, and just approaching the ball python game with a business look, business approach, and hopefully inspiring as well as helping some new breeders at least know what their infrastructure needs to look like before going in these directions. It's Will, it's Flawless Exotic Creations. Have an awesome week.